Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished Chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the Voluntary Fund for Technical Cooperation in the Field of Human Rights, Mr. Santiago Corsuera Cabezut, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Human rights technical cooperation aims to empower rights holders and duty bearers. It engages national actors in finding solutions to human rights challenges they face, and it unleashes the power of international cooperation and dialogue. I'd like to share first a few examples with you on how the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights over this reporting period has responded to requests for technical cooperation at country level in partnership with member states, national human rights institutions, civil society actors, and the UN system. Technical cooperation facilitates the implementation of recommendations from UN human rights mechanisms. In Tajikistan, following recommendations from human rights mechanisms, OHCHR contributed to improving the legislative framework concerning freedom of the press, rights of persons with disabilities, and the rights of individuals deprived of their liberty. This included assistance in drafting a new media law, organizing a roundtable with parliamentarians and media to discuss social network regulation. Technical cooperation also strengthens national human rights institutions and contributes to aligning national laws and policies with international human rights law. In Madagascar, Kenya, and Togo, the Office partnered with the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie to bring together NHRIs to exchange best practices. The Office also supported NHRIs, including in Greece, New Zealand, Slovenia, and Sweden, to prepare submissions to the Committee for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. In Ecuador, OHCHR provided technical assistance for the establishment of Ecuador's national mechanism on monitoring, reporting, and follow-up on recommendations of human rights mechanisms. This included the development of a human rights information system called CIDerechos, designed to monitor and report on progress in implementation of human rights recommendations. Technical cooperation advances gender equality and has the potential to empower women. In Cambodia, in collaboration with UN system partners, OHCHR supported development of the National Social Protection Policy Framework, Vision 2030, to ensure that the policy takes into account human rights and labor standards, including the principles of gender equality, particularly those working in the informal economy. In South Africa, OHCHR supported efforts to address gender-based violence and improve the health system to respect sexual and reproductive rights of women. This included collaboration with the South African government in adopting laws and policies to hold perpetrators of human rights violations accountable and engage in activities and initiatives to ensure redress for victims of forced sterilization. Technical cooperation also serves to align human rights efforts with broader goals of sustainable development, ensuring that progress in human rights contributes directly to the attainment of the SDGs. In Jordan, OHCHR worked with the resident coordinator and the Economic and Social Council of Jordan to prioritize human rights in public finance policies. This included developing a policy brief which highlights the importance of maximizing resources to invest in economic, social, and cultural rights, and reposition public expenditure to prioritize people's needs and rights. These efforts contributed to evidence-based policy dialogue at the municipal level on the role of public finance and fiscal decentralization in addressing inequalities and advancing human rights. Technical cooperation also contributes to preventing action to mitigate negative human rights impacts of crises. In the Pacific, OHCHR worked with the UN country team to advise the government of Vanuatu on incorporating a human rights-based approach in its response to climate-related disasters. This included measures to ensure that climate change and disaster reduction policies are gender responsive and involve the participation of women, persons with disabilities, and youth in decision-making processes related to climate change. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, OHCHR has been involved in initiatives to ensure the protection of personal data and privacy rights, particularly emphasizing the importance of human rights in the development and deployment of digital technologies. And technical cooperation promotes inclusive dialogue and participation among all national stakeholders. In Malawi, OHCHR worked with the UN country team to facilitate a national platform for dialogue on business and human rights. And in Lebanon, OHCHR worked with security services to support human rights data collection related to juveniles, domestic violence, and human trafficking, and to establish a complaints mechanism and a committee to monitor detention conditions. Before I conclude on this item, I just wanted to say that those of you who listened to this morning's discussion on South Sudan and others would have heard how the ambassador of South Sudan clearly stated that in post-conflict situations, human rights technical cooperation is key in supporting rule of law institutions and in supporting the implementation of any peace agreement. At the same time, one of our NGO speakers said that in the absence of political will, technical assistance processes are largely futile. Well, I think the truth lies somewhere in between. From our perspective, both perspectives have a value, but I should say that I remain firmly convinced that human rights technical cooperation is a critical potential driver, not only for generating this political will that we need, but secondly, for addressing root causes that pave the way for peace, and thirdly, to build social cohesion and dialogue amongst national actors. In conclusion, allow me to thank the members, all the members of the Board of the Voluntary Fund for Technical Cooperation for their commitment and guidance. We're also indebted to all of you, who've contributed resources to the Voluntary Fund for Technical Cooperation, to the UPR Trust Fund, but also to the Voluntary Technical Assistance Fund to support the participation of LDCs and SIDS. I thank you for your attention and for your continued collaboration.